a few notes this morning. First of all, the last few days, the bathroom in the commercial building behind me, this one now has a lock on it, a combination lock, and I wouldn't want to ask somebody what it is, because then it will, they might ask me what connection I've got to the building, if any. The other day, someone put a sign on the door that said that their bathroom's inside. Of course, I thought that was a bad idea, because anybody who didn't know about it could go in and use those instead of the other public toilets, which habitually are filthy, broken, poisonous, have no toilet paper, etc. It's terrible to do it this way, but you know, even though from time to time, if my sole source of what's going on anywhere, including around here, is over the internet, without being able to live anywhere. The second one is that I'm going to, if the zipper on this backpack and the straps continue deteriorating, I'm going to either replace it. Of course, I've got zero money for, like, what's today, the 22nd, for about until next month. So it's going to be over a week to 10 days before I have any money at all, except for a few pieces of change in my pocket, a few coins of change in my pocket, and literally a few cents in all my checking accounts. That's it. And of course, the unknown cause of the cough, of course, may be an upper respiratory infection, but clearly a lot of this is my body all stressed out and inflamed from the terrible situation I live in, histamine reactions, and unable to buy my over-the-counter allergy drugs because they cost money, and no, I'm not going to get any prescriber and tell them who the fuck that person is, where they live, and all their personal political beliefs. Because this sickening shit they did to me is one facet of the murder by the millions that Big Pharma and all the other co-conspiratoring domains, rabbit holes, echo chambers, etc. And somebody points out in some online comment, on the internet somewhere, this isn't even really about money. It's about power. And the very fact that yesterday I wasted my time and degraded my body, because clearly I know my limitations. One of the things is that if I have to carry around this goddamn fucking niggermobile with a few items in it, that including stuff that I would need to stay alive, it's too bad that let me, some persons from some other, it's difficult to find out where these persons on this long-standing website or app called Reddit are coming from, literally, location-wise, because certainly an iPhone is not the kind of thing to look around and find out where people are coming from a long time ago. More, less teenage media consumption, social media devices than this is probably. In any place else other than an upscale area, people would look at this phone and say, "What am I, a goddamn billionaire?" Or in most third world countries, they say, "Why the fuck you use that piece of shit iPhone?" But the main thing I was going to say is that I can't remember. There was something I was leading up to about after I was talking about the backpack in the bathroom. I need to next month. First of all, I want to talk about, at some point prior to the pandemic atrocities, everything I ended up with, might have been sufficient to get myself back on my feet, if one wants to use that metaphor that foreigners cannot understand, and social workers will take out of context, because one of the things that persons point out repeatedly now these days is that despite all the lying piece of shit and rhetoric of our current situation here in this blue state, the truth is that let this apparent parent with a baby in a stroller, or two parents, I can't see, I don't look, I don't pay attention now. I need to next month somehow get a prescription and buy some eyeglasses, because even though it won't be helpful, and then some sunglasses that go over them, like the blue blockers kind of things that I get, sort of like old people in Florida put over their eyeglasses, or maybe not. I'm too busy right now to go across the street and possibly be hit by a car or rubbed up against by some Mexican or sick fat person or person who's filthy and poisonous for whatever they do, or sick dog with anti-flea shit sprayed all over it. By the way, this morning I don't know, it seemed like for a half hour or so, some fat woman who I may or may not recognize because not being able to see faces, you can't generalize from the body shape and what they're wearing. She had like a little tiny dog sitting on the lawn in front of the newly refurbished or finished, if I want to call it, professional building at 575 here on Lincoln Avenue here in Winnetka. Just sitting out there. She had a leash on it. It was just sitting there in the middle of the lawn for God knows what, doing nothing. I suspect that she was like surveilling me or something, or possibly she's fucked up on drugs or something. That's not an ordinary behavior of somebody who doesn't live in that building, to take that person's little dog, have it sit down there, not pee, not shit. Of course, you know, that would be the kind of place where people are. I'll wait for this car to go because I'm not going to yell. I need to rest my voice. Among other things, I need to rest every part of my body. And since the main thing that homeless generic niggers do is walk around, you know, so that probably, I'd say that based on the smell, the engine is not well, the gasoline mixture of this fossil fuels car is not particularly unpolluting the air, because if I could smell that kind of smell coming out of it as soon as it turns on, that's definitely coming from the car that just turned on its engine here, right here in front of me. See it? Anyway, again, every time I think, you know, I'm going to reconnect with anything at all, you know, if they, oh, hang on. First of all, my age and my current legal and financial status obviates against me doing anything normal. Every time I try to avail myself of poor person shit, leftist shit, sickening, disgusting Democrat lawyer shit, nigger shit, Mexican shit, you know, Nazi shit, hate, whatever, it always is sickening and disgusting because these persons just do not understand why they even came to this country. Granted, one of the topics on Reddit, which is basically a very, very woke leftist thing with people who are snowflakes crying out because, you know, it skews younger and male and the Euro trash and leftist and stuff. I do really frequent. The most important one is a subreddit called anti-psychiatry. Unfortunately, there are a few people in there who are either like too fucked up to be making sense. Usually there are plants or bots or, you know, persons from the outside trying to disrupt it from the inside. There's one person, I guess, you know, he spews out, he or she, I can't really tell, it seems to be he, spews out some stuff, although maybe, I can't necessarily tell based on these who or where, really obviously harmed and reactionary against psychiatry like I have every right to be, but, you know, by using this term, this person appends to their stuff, calling the psych practitioners, what's the term he or she or they in this fucked up place uses? Something like lunatic medical providers or something. That kind of debases this whole stuff. And yeah, the way to do it is the way that I was attempting to do it for a long time, in that you need the providers and prescribers on your side. You'll never get the real ones, because even the ones in the medical freedom movement, you know, now the ILCCC part of that is a good review for like lower nursing stuff or basic old-fashioned stuff for persons who don't know much about, you know, how things work in the allopathic or osteopathic medical systems, etc. But the main thing there, every single one of them is, you know, there's still these grifters selling their snake oil, their scam artists. It's like, especially, unfortunately, Dr. McCullough turns out to be nothing more than, you know, like I'm not sure he's from Harvard, but cardiologist, you know, do this. And it's unfortunate he's devolving to that, you know, buy my shit, including ivermectin and prescription drugs in the script for, you know, and before this happened, you know, one of the things that would easily have solved my problem is not available anymore, because, you know, some of the actors that need to be taken down and arrested or sued, because once you arrest them, then even my condition with my abilities and nothing, I could then, you know, as a side gig, try to do torts against them, because some of these things like murdering people and severe stuff like that actually has a very long statute of limitations. One of the things that I'm not going to be able to do really is, you go into Evanston and eat the shitty food at these goddamn fucking soup kitchens because the sick shit that I have to circumnavigate to get to them is just not worth the effort. Because if I'm going to end up in some filthy, smoke-infested, abusive place, with no ability to not be tortured and abused, then I'll just see what happens. Maybe in a couple of days I'll change my mind, or something will change. I'll get a donation, I'll get some food, or I don't know. But since I cannot sign up for anything these people insist on, because first of all, I knew decades ago that there's nothing for poor people, and if I have to live somewhere, I have to live somewhere. I have to have a down payment on a single-family dwelling. Whatever that kid did to put something in his mouth, could have been candy, drugs, a cigarette. Who the fuck knows? I can't see. So again, next month, if I could do it, I have to start saving up for an eye prescription and some glasses, but not from a medical provider, an optician in a store, in a retail store, who's not going to go try to give me any kind of things other than a refraction. Because if they do, they'll end up, with the same kind of shit. I know that there's a lot of stuff wrong with me because they're locked up and tortured and defamed and murdered and crippled deliberately. All those years I invested in that stuff, in terms of believed in it and whatever, because I was what Peter Bregan calls spellbound. These idiots taking these meds don't have any idea how stupid they are. And in fact, the COVID messenger RNA jabs, injections, did really fuck everybody up. On average, how can anybody not see that the average problem-solving ability to tolerate stuff, if you want to use an old-fashioned metric, the IQ, intelligence, by measuring stuff that people could do, I know all the stuff, I know all the limitations and equivocations and stuff like that. But really, if I could see this in my condition, the point is that overall, everybody on Earth is stupider. The shit from the spike protein does in fact shed, and these people in charge want it to be in everything. The pet food, the plants, and again, I'm not really able to remember stuff or talk, but see, they won't give me anything other than lock me up and torture me, and then come back and be all fucked up. Me sitting here, again, not having a phone that works is not a symptom that needs to be resolved by putting me in some emergency psych and crippling me and drugging me and beating the shit out of me and threatening me with gay faggot shit and nigger shit and smoke and smoke and smoke. Again, we cannot be reasonable with these persons, because every time I say, okay, I'm ready to retire, throw the towel in, throw over the cards, etc., I don't fit into any kind of an identity group that they will get all kinds of perks, and the perks they wanted someone to, I would do. In fact, one of the ways of starting to disengage from this stuff was when I was living in that uninhabitable slum under duress in Southeast Evanston on Hinman, not the one you're thinking of, a much worse one, and a telephone appointment with my primary care physician, Dr. Alt. I said, what, I'm willingly going to, I'll gladly give my medical care to someone else who wants it, because of course us privileged elites can certainly give our shit like forced COVID shots, to find out if I've got a heart disease, and if not, give me statin drugs so I do have heart disease, etc. Hang on. Of course, the reason why this large fucking black Dearborn made by niggers, Muslims in the United States is parking right in front of me is a black shiny piece of shit with the goddamn reflections, of course, since I cannot have sunglasses when I'm going to move. And of course, since the filter is going this way, I'm going to go this way. A normal person, again, thank God I'm doing this in the mornings, is sort of, again, this person parking. Probably without being able to see in there, it's maybe some elderly senior citizen or a child just getting his or their fucking goddamn driver's license, a foreigner, a cripple, a fucking space alien, the goddamn Democrat lawyer who, 30, 40 years ago would not sit down at a LexisNexis terminal because of some kind of class warfare. Oh, we're the attorneys, we're the partners or whatever the fuck. We can't sit down and type at a fucking screen because they didn't want people to know they were so unable to fucking type into a fucking thing like a typewriter or a computer or a fucking terminal to access Lexis or Nexus, whatever. In point of fact, this shit could go cram itself up their rectums, and they do. This is a terrible thing they did to me. It's very bad. Although, again, I will reiterate, nobody needs to know my opinions. Nobody needs to pay me for being a retard. I feel my upbringing, so I'm not going to go into Hometown Coffee, go get their napkins and leave, because I won't have any way of buying a fucking coffee until at least next month. And of course, by then I won't even need coffee. I won't want to charge my devices in a place where the whole thing is designed not to be able to. I mean, really, if I had my stuff, I'd pick and choose the stuff. And that cunt ordering her, again, as recently as January, this is the end of July. As recently as January, that cunt Audrey's boss, Audrey Gerhardt, not Audrey Gerhardt, with a T. The point being is that none of this should have happened, but I really can't do a thing about it. And I'm going to tell myself that my main thing today is, again, the same thing I did yesterday, which is the bulk of my day in the early morning after I get my morning sunshine here with the filth and poison and the goddamn fucking probably union labor, because why would they be doing it all day and during the lunch and after hours if they don't get paid extra to inconvenience people? I understand that Muslims don't like dogs, so when this place turns into a Muslim caliphate, you'll have to go trade in all your dogs for goddamn camels. I'm not sure if I am the correct camera at that good-looking woman walking her dog. Unfortunately, sometimes the drivers respect the crosswalk, sometimes they don't. But of course, how can you even believe that? How can I even not know that? When the old saying of what is the most dangerous part of the car? The nut that holds the steering wheel. And I am at the point is that the bulk of my day is going to be spent at the Winnetka Northfield Public Library amongst poor people who stink like smoke, a lot of sickening persons that I wouldn't let into my own home if they allowed me to live somewhere. I won't make, God, I mean, it's just because I don't like the scent of a woman or she reminds me of something. Why do they do this? Because certain people, for example, have you ever smelled what our allies, the Indians, stink like? If you notice, overwhelmingly in recent decades, one of the supplements that even normal allopathic providers would recommend for dementia, which is, of course, is that shit that the Indians put in their stuff. It's also in regular mustard, whatever we talk about. But there are all kinds of other ones that smell better and act as well, except they're more expensive. Like, for example, it's very difficult to get any goddamn fucking ginger. I used to buy this brand that I first got from either Whole Foods or Amazon, but the last time they got it delivered was not the same product. It was not packed correctly, and the only reason why I still keep my fucking post office box in Glencoe is that at least Amazon will deliver one or two things that can be excused as food that are much cheaper ordered there with my $123 of SNAP benefits, which also I can't get SNAP benefits without also receiving Medicaid, because it is definitely a per person needs-based entitlement. Wouldn't it be better, you stupid cunt, and all you goddamn piece of shit social workers and goddamn legal pieces of shit? And I can't help if somebody can overhear me. I'm in public. You don't like it, then keep your ears shut. Some Asian, possibly woman, although persons point out rightly the one reason why Asian guys are devalued in Western civilization, they're very feminized. Okay, I don't know how tall I am or how much I weigh. I haven't measured myself or weighed myself in a long time. I do know that, growing up, one of the worst things that you could be in normal stuff, unless you compensate, not overcompensate, is a short guy. And just because I'm a short guy doesn't mean I want to have fully sipping Mexican shit with beans and diarrhea. And again, I think a lot of persons are susceptible to this, because for example, when the Chinese grad students come with the fucking face masks, that's because they're used to living in filthy, sickening places like India, China, full of goddamn sick goddamn people. And yeah, they do not necessarily look like white people. And some people of bizarre backgrounds, like Southern persons from, in general, Southern European areas, like Greeks and Turkish people, and Italians, and South France, South Germany, some not even really Spain or Portugal, because they look much darker than even the others I said. But one of the things that I'm reminded of that I probably didn't remember for a long time, because what the emergency psych does to you is fuck you up so badly that if you don't buy into the system, and the ones, again, if you notice, of all these large amount of people that you know even more intimately than if you were in their same family or fucking them, because you're like compelled to spew out all personal stuff in front of idiot persons and be too young. This isn't really noisy here. This is not begin to rise to the level of decibels that would be here like when the train is here and with all this other shit, and the construction workers of Winnetka have not yet started a really bad pounding and sawing and hammering and stuff. Because also, one other thing before I go, I'm going to have to charge this and my other phone and add some more minutes to my main charging device, but I probably am not going to stay there long enough to do all those, because at best I have my one outlet at a time, and the others that, of course, the dongles don't fit into the USB-C or A ports are among the shit that Audrey stole from me. I did not complete that particular train of thought last night, which was that a lot of this stuff, if I could now go see my stuff, but I'm not allowed to because as a male, see, that's what these persons are saying. Even in this woke leftist thing, tranny city, you know, all that shit on you know, Reddit was also known for a long time ago on the internet, some teenager committing suicide publicly on the internet. Today that person would be like locked up and tortured and then sent to Canada for doctor-assisted suicide, like Kevorkian. Remember Dr. Kevorkian? But of course Kevorkian sounds like a Albanian or Iranian surname, Kevorkian. So again, Dr. Kevorkian's ancestors must have been Muslims, and so they're well aware of the fact that he shouldn't be doing that, because being a physician or a psychiatrist, whatever the fuck he was, is a job that the Muslims think of it as a mud gutter profession, because they allow their women who don't have any other rights to be medical providers and the ones that have help with the babies also. Those are called, whatever the word is. And by the way, yeah, one of the least harmful psychiatrists I had as a patient was Dr. Yunus, better known as a breast cancer survivor and a Muslim. You know, when she wrote her editorials in these leftist vehicles like Huffington Post and the New York Times, by the way, I'm sure every leftist in the world would salivate to know that, any psychiatrist would salivate to know that she got her op-eds or actual columns published in the New York Times, one of which, the thrust of it, the gist of it, I didn't really read it secondhand, because stuff of course I did read was later made private, because she didn't want to be harassed on the internet for being a breast cancer survivor, mother, Pakistani Muslim psychiatrist, etc. before she died. And one of the things that she did break confidentiality with me is discussing writing, of course. And God, she would have, again, the reason why she was not harmful is in addition to the situation in which I saw her. I won't to go into that now, but also because we had the funding to supplement her pittance of money that she got from the insurance of the mental patients. And of course I could talk about that, but of course, yes, of course, these are the large blocks of my time were involved in that kind of stuff, but also large blocks of my time are gone because of propranolol and other things that kind of fuck up your memory, like being locked up and tortured and given advanced mind control techniques, reminiscent of this stuff being done decades ago under the aegis, the title, the code word, the classification, MK Ultra, artichoke, all that kind of shit like that. Clearly, that's all. I can't see this in this light, and also I did notice that the Apple phone I'm holding, which is the iPhone 16 Pro, it just doesn't get as bright as the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which should last longer with the battery and stuff, but the dongle on that is shot. I'm not sure if I made an appointment they'd be able to do anything about it. Maybe they could replace it, but I have to actually go over to the Muslim Caliphate in Old Orchard to do that, and that means smoke and filth and poison and waiting for the 201 bus at Central Street in Evanston or worse, with there's footsteps away from the hospital, so that means anybody takes, and the fire department and all kinds of other stuff. Yeah, I do get a little bit, this is really a bad thing. I can't really keep doing this because this is bad for my eye. Actually, if maybe my bad eye would be that they really fucked up because I was locked up and tortured in a smoke-filled nigger place, in Chicago during the pandemic, because some asshole faggot or homosexual or female who hates males that's why it's a gender thing, in that if that's right. Did you notice that if I'd done the same thing the other day with this the last The most recent nuisance call to the police, literally in front of